The invitation said black tie optional, but nothing prepared me for what came next. My sister Jessica's wedding was supposed to be the happiest day of her life, and the day I finally realized I was nothing more than an afterthought in my own family. I'd spent months helping plan the wedding, choosing flowers, negotiating with vendors, even loaning Jessica $5,000 when her dream venue demanded a last-minute deposit. "You're the only one I trust," she'd whispered, hugging me. But when I walked into the ballroom of the Grand Willow Hotel, my heels sinking into plush carpet, the receptionist's smile froze as she scanned the guest list. "Emma Carter?" Her manicured finger paused. "Ah, you're at table 12. In the back." I glanced at the seating chart. Table 12 wasn't just the back. It was next to the kitchen doors, where the clatter of dishes and the smell of grease would drown out the vows. Meanwhile, Jessica's sorority sisters, her nail tech, even her dog's groomer had prime spots near the altar. My chest tightened, but I forced a smile. Maybe it was a mistake. Then I saw my mother across the room, adjusting Jessica's veil. I approached, my voice barely above the string quartet. "Mom, there's been a mix-up. They put me by the kitchen." She didn't even look up. "Oh, Emma, don't be difficult. It's her day." Jessica smirked, her diamond earrings catching the light. "Relax. It's not like you're part of the bridal party." The words hit like a slap. I wasn't in the bridal party, despite being her only sister. Despite the money, the time, the sleepless nights. I gripped my clutch, the sequins biting into my palm. That's when I noticed it. The place card at table 12. Not Emma Carter, sister of the bride. Just Emma Carter. Erased. Like always. But this time I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I sat down in that plastic chair by the kitchen and made a silent promise. By the end of tonight, you'll wish you'd never underestimated me. What Jessica didn't know, I'd brought more than a gift to this wedding. 3 years before that wedding disaster, I nearly lost my apartment to keep Jessica out of trouble. She totaled her BMW while driving drunk after some sorority party, and when the police called, I was the one who rushed to the station at 3. Not Mom, who was too tired. Not Dad, who was on a business trip in Dubai. Just me. The bail was $10,000. I handed over my emergency fund without hesitation, the same money I'd saved for grad school. "You're my guardian angel," Jessica had sobbed into my shoulder that night, her mascara staining my blouse. 2 weeks later, she posted Instagram stories from a Cancun resort with our parents. Caption: "Family healing time 2 hearts." Meanwhile, I ate ramen for a month to cover rent. That was the pattern. When Jessica failed her pre-med finals, I spent sleepless nights helping her cram, only for her to take credit when she barely passed. I just have good test-taking skills. When Mom needed a kidney donor last year, I was the first match. The doctors called me a miracle. Jessica brought balloons to the hospital, then left after 15 minutes to meet friends for brunch. The worst part? I kept excusing it. "She's young," I tell myself. "She'll grow up." Then came the notebook incident. While recovering from surgery at Mom's house, I found a leather journal in the attic. Inside were meticulous records of every piano recital, every ballet competition, every B+ Jessica ever got, with Polaroids taped beside the entries. My fingers trembled flipping through pages, until I reached the back. Nothing. Not one report card. Not one photo of me winning the science fair or graduating summa cum laude. Just empty lines where a daughter should have been. Confronting Mom was my breaking point. She'd been baking Jessica's favorite lemon bars when I showed her the journal. "Oh, that." She wiped floury hands on her apron. "Jessica needed extra encouragement. You were always so self-sufficient." The knife twisted deeper when she added, "Besides, you never seemed to care about attention." That's when I understood the cruel math of our family. Jessica's smallest efforts got parades. My sacrifices? They were just expected like oxygen or sunrise. The wedding seating arrangement wasn't some oversight. It was the final confirmation. To them, I wasn't the glue holding this family together. I was just the shelf they stored their guilt on, until they needed something shinier. But that leather journal held more than just forgotten memories. That leather journal wasn't just a record of favoritism. It became my roadmap to justice. While helping Jessica pack for her honeymoon, another task Mom voluntold me for, I found her old iPad wedged between designer sweaters in her Louis Vuitton trunk. The screen lit up with a notification from bridesmaid Becca. "Girl, did you send the prenup to your lawyer yet?" My fingers hovered, then tapped. What followed was a year's worth of messages that made my blood run colder than the champagne at her wretched wedding. "Ethan's so gullible," Jessica had texted last November. "Once we're married, I'll accidentally get pregnant. His mom will transfer the Nantucket house to us faster than you can say grandbaby." Another gem to her college roommate. "LOL, his family thinks I want to be a pediatrician. Me, changing diapers. I'm just doing this until the prenup period ends." But the real dagger? A video buried in her deleted folder, Jessica practicing her shocked face in a mirror, whispering, "Who'll believe him when I say he hit me? Rich men always settle." I nearly vomited right there on her monogrammed luggage. This wasn't just spoiled brat behavior. This was calculated, soulless manipulation. The worst part? She'd involved Mom. Messages showed them conspiring to hide Jessica's credit card debt, tell Dad it's for med school books, and Mom actually advising how to milk Ethan's family. "Wait until after the wedding to mention your chronic migraines. They'll have to pay for your treatments." My hand shook as I screenshot everything, sending copies to my cloud, my burner email, even printing physical backups. That's when I noticed the date on one particular exchange, the night of my kidney surgery. Jessica had texted Mom, "Can't believe Emma's making this about her. Now we have to postpone my spa weekend." Mom's reply, "I know, sweetheart. She's always been so dramatic about pain." In that moment, the last thread of guilt inside me snapped. These weren't just flawed people. They were predators in cashmere sweaters. As I placed the iPad back exactly where I found it, a strange calm settled over me. Jessica wanted to play chess with people's lives? Fine. But she'd forgotten one crucial rule. When you underestimate your opponent, you've already lost the game. That iPad held more than secrets. It held the key to bringing down their entire facade. For 3 excruciating months after discovering Jessica's secrets, I became a master of performance. At Sunday family dinners, I'd nod along to Mom's gushing about the wedding plans, even suggesting floral arrangements while secretly recording every conversation on my smartwatch. When Jessica complained about Ethan being cheap for refusing to upgrade their honeymoon suite, I smiled and offered to talk to him, then forwarded the audio to his private email with the subject line, "Thought you should know who you're marrying." The real work happened in the shadows. A paralegal friend helped me subpoena Jessica's medical records, exposing her fabricated chronic migraines. I tracked down her former roommate Becca, now a struggling single mom, and paid off her $8,000 credit card in exchange for sworn testimony about Jessica's schemes. Buthapi Cedar Assistance, the offshore account Mom didn't know knew about, where Esh been stashing gifts from Jessica's future -laws. $8,000 credit card in exchange for sworn testimony about Jessica's schemes. Buthapi Cedar Assistance, the offshore account Mom didn't know knew about, where Esh been stashing gifts from Jessica's future -laws. $147,000 in untaxed income, all documented in a neat little folder labeled retirement. I played my role perfectly. The dutiful daughter. The uncomplaining sister. When Jessica asked me to alter her wedding dress, "You're so good with your hands," I sewed in a nearly invisible tracking device between the silk layers. When Mom needed help addressing invitations, I accidentally added Ethan's suspicious Aunt Regina to the VIP list. Every move calculated, every gesture deliberate. The hardest part wasn't the planning, it was the waiting. Sitting through Jessica's bridal shower as she opened Cartier boxes, knowing the receipt showed she'd bought them herself to fake Ethan's generosity. Smiling through Mom's toast about family sticking together, while the offshore account statements burned in my pocket. But I'd learned from the best. Patience was Jessica's weapon, and now it was mine. 2 nights before the wedding, I finally cracked the password to Dad's old safe deposit box. Behind the expired passports and war bonds lay what I needed most, the unaltered copy of Grandma's will. The one proving the family heirlooms Mom gave Jessica were meant to be split equally. That's when I knew this wasn't just about exposing lies anymore. This was about reclaiming everything they'd stolen from me, one brutal truth at a time. The wedding would be Jessica's dream come true. For exactly 27 minutes. The moment Jessica stepped onto that floral runway, her Vera Wang train fluttering behind her like some angelic apparition, I activated Phase 1. From my honored seat by the kitchen doors, I tapped my phone. Instantly, every screen in the venue, from the 80-inch reception monitor to the bridesmaids' Instagram live feeds, switched to Exhibit A. Jessica's practice video whispering about fake abuse allegations, time-stamped the night Ethan proposed. The gasps were volcanic. Ethan's groomsmen physically restrained him from lunging at the altar. Jessica's porcelain face cracked like dropped china. "It's fake!" she shrieked. But the room had already erupted into chaos. That's when Aunt Regina, bless her suspicious soul, marched to the DJ booth and grabbed the mic, since we're airing dirty laundry. Her voice carried as she pulled out the offshore account documents I'd slipped her during cocktail hour. "Caroline, care to explain why you've been laundering wedding gifts?" Phase 2, the dress reveal. As Jessica stumbled backward, the tracking device I'd sewn into her bodice triggered the venue's emergency sprinklers. Water rained down on her custom gown, dissolving the hand-sewn lace to reveal mass-produced tags from a Chinese sweatshop, the same one she'd told Vogue about boycotting. The Pulitzer-worthy photo came when her spray tan streaked down her neck in orange rivers, matching perfectly with the rust-colored dye bleeding from her platinum extensions. Then came my piece de resistance. While security dragged Jessica away, still screaming that this was identity theft, I took the mic with the quiet dignity of a woman who'd waited a lifetime for this moment. For those wondering why, I nodded to the AV tech. Grandma's unaltered will flashed on screen alongside Mom's doctored version, while my paralegal friend circulated notarized copies. The final slide? A side-by-side of Jessica's chronic migraine MRI and a scan from an actual brain tumor patient courtesy of Becca's testimony. The room's energy shifted palpably. Wedding guests who'd ignored me for years now looked at me with something between awe and terror. Ethan's father quietly canceled the $250,000 check he'd written for the happy couple. But the sweetest justice came when Mom lunged at me, only for Dad's sweet, passive dad to grab her wrist midair. "Enough, Caroline," he said, louder than he'd spoken in decades. We all heard Jessica's recordings. As I walked out, past the open bar where Jessica's sorority sisters were already deleting photos with her, I didn't feel the rush of victory I'd expected. Just bone-deep exhaustion and the quiet certainty that I'd never have to sit at the kids' table again. My phone buzzed with Ethan's text. "I owe you my life." I left it on read. Some debts, like some families, aren't worth collecting. The voicemail started piling up at 3 a.m. 3 weeks after the wedding, that wasn't. Jessica's life resembled a canceled Bravo reality show. The hospital rescinded her residency offer when the fake migraine records surfaced. Her Instagram, once a curated feed of #RichWifeVibes, became a graveyard of deleted posts and angry comments from Ethan's family lawyers. The final blow? The Bennett sued to reclaim the $87,000 bridal gifts, including the Mercedes she'd already crashed twice. I learned this through second-hand gossip, my favorite being the spa that banned her for screaming at estheticians about conspiracies. But the sweetest confirmation came via certified mail. A court noticed that Mom had transferred Grandma's heirlooms to my possession, citing undue influence by Jessica. The kicker? The judge ordered her to pay $15,000 in legal fees, the exact amount of my stolen grad school fund. Last I heard, she's sharing a studio apartment with Becca, the same roommate she'd mocked for poor life choices. Karma's a meticulous bookkeeper. It always collects with interest. 6 months after the wedding implosion, I stood in my new Soho loft purchase with the settlement money from Mom's offshore account scandal-stirring matcha powder into almond milk. The morning sunlight caught the edges of Grandma's heirloom brooch displayed on my bookshelf, no longer hidden away in Jessica's jewelry box. My phone buzzed with a Forbes notification. Former It Girl Jessica Carter linked to crypto scam. I swiped it away, uninterested in her latest downfall. Therapy taught me an invaluable lesson. The opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. I channeled all my once-bottled rage into building Carter Consulting, now thriving with clients who valued my meticulous nature rather than exploited it. Last month I hired Becca as my office manager. Her sharp organizational skills put my old tracking spreadsheets to shame. We laugh now about how Jessica's betrayal became our blessing. On Sundays, I volunteer at the animal shelter where I adopted Max, the three-legged golden retriever who chewed through Jessica's favorite Prada heels during his first week home. Dad visits occasionally, always bringing dog treats instead of apologies. We don't talk about Mom or Jessica. Some silences are more healing than words. The final piece of my rebirth came unexpectedly. Sorting through Grandma's things, I found a sealed letter addressed to me in her shaky cursive. For my clear-eyed granddaughter, it read. Inside was a vintage key and directions to a safety deposit box containing $50,000, her just-in-case fund. The note simply said, "You were always my favorite. Go be extraordinary." I used it to fund scholarships for women escaping toxic families. Every semester, the thank you notes from recipients' stories of daughters who became doctors, artists, survivors, fill me with something warmer than vengeance ever could. Jessica can keep her drama. I'll take this quiet victory. As I lock up my office tonight, Max wagging his tail beside me, I realize something profound. Revenge didn't heal me, choosing myself did. That wedding disaster wasn't my tragedy. It was my emancipation. To anyone watching who's trapped in someone else's narrative, remember this. You don't need to destroy toxic people. You just need to outgrow them. Walk away with your dignity intact, your truth documented, and your heart open to those who truly deserve it. The greatest "I told you so" isn't screamed in anger. It's whispered through the life you build without them. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a date with a three-legged dog and a future brighter than anything my past could dim.